0-2. Jeanette with a drive into right. Did he do it? He has! 4 home runs. It's never been done in Reds history.
Wow.
4 home runs in
What
one single game.
a
Scooter Jeanette.
Tuesday.
So you weren't expecting a 4 home run game from Scooter Jeanette when you woke up?
Divock, I can tell you that when I woke up at 6 a.m. for a rare Tuesday morning workout, I was not expecting Scooter Jeanette to go for 4 home runs and 10 RBIs off the bench in a spot start for the Redlegs.
Your favorite Red now.
Like that's
the great thing about Scooter Jeanette is that you're all hyped about signing Scooter Jeanette. But he's your basic replacement level middle infielder, utility douchebag, whatever he is. And you were all excited about the Reds signing him. And I was it's real bad when you're excited about signing Scooter Jeanette. And look at you now.
Look at us now. I am Shake and Bake here with Divock. Have a little 2-man show going tonight, absent our third party, but we will press on. And we're going to dive right into Scooter Jeanette's huge night for the Reds. 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 5 for 5 against Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals. And the Reds take their second game in a row against those fuckboys from St. Louis, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
It makes me happy. I'm going to sleep well tonight.
It's great for Reds fans, unless you bet on the Cardinals 2 straight games.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying I did that, but
yeah, well,
there might be people out there who did.
Yeah,
that,
well,
they might be doing a podcast too.
They might, but they're not as happy as I am. So
they are definitely not happy.
No,
you are very happy.
Yeah, Divock, going back to what you're saying, I remember that conversation. I brought it up to you tonight just because I kind of found it funny that, Scooter Jeanette is having one of the better bench starts to a bench season that you've seen from a utility player, probably in a while. At least the most notable I can remember recently. You might be able to do that some more, being because you are a fact machine for baseball, even more than I am. And
bench, I can't even come up with, off the top of my head, a bench.
I mean 300.
A White Sox.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's bench players having, roles like this, maybe whatever that 2000, something World Series and our playoffs when Alex Rodriguez couldn't hit the broadside of a barn and Raul Ibanez had to come off the bench to basically replace him as a hitter. That's kind of the last time I can remember, and he was cranking home runs, and I think that was Ibanez's swan song, basically. But oh my God, I mean, 7 home runs. He had 10 ribbies tonight. I think he's 20 plus ribbies on the season now, and the Reds don't start this guy.
They don't because they don't have but Peraza, so Jeanette can play what? He can play second. He can play a little.
He can play outfield. Maybe. He can play as the corner outfield. He plays second and third.
Okay.
He could probably play short if you wanted to. He's a good enough athlete, I think, to play short.
Schebler's still Schebler's hurt. So
yeah. Well, actually, Schebler was back tonight. Made his first game back in 2 games, 3 games.
Jeanette's better than Peraza. Peraza's got some more speed.
Yeah.
But let's go back to Jeanette. So he hit 4 home runs today.
Yeah.
Which is the first time that's happened since 2012 when Josh Hamilton did it.
Yeah.
So, there's a handful of times I can remember. Who's on Hamilton? We got Sean Green. I remember Mike Hammer did it against my White Sox. I remember watching that game. Former White Sox and Red Mike Hammer.
Yeah.
Anybody else missing? 4
Did Jim Thome have a 4 home run game? There are 17 players in MLB history with a 4 home run game.
Mark Whitten did it against the Reds.
Yeah, it was a Reds card. It's kind of the Reds Cardinals trade-off, and he was the last one to do it with a grand slam.
Okay. So the first Red to ever do it is Scooter Jeanette, not Joe Morgan or Johnny Bench or all the great Reds of all time. That's the first ever franchise in MLB, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, right?
So that's long history, and Scooter Jeanette. Where does this rank? Where does this rank in terms of you don't have a lot of great Reds moments in your lifetime.
That's
Too
true.
young to witness their last World Series.
Big Red Machine and the
Right.
last World Series was the fall before I was born.
Correct.
Which we can get into, my cursed life since I came into this world later. But
right.
as far as
that would take way too long for the Pirates.
Well, that's a lot of years of a lot of Bengals games that I didn't even want to go to. Topps Reds moments. This actually is definitely up there because this and what makes it even sweeter is it was the Cardinals, because I hate the Cardinals as much as you and I have a lot of hate for the Cubs, but I think that has more to do with their fans and the fact that we live here in Chicago than it does the actual team of the Cubs. Maybe for you a little bit more than for me for the Cubs as far as the team goes.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. Top Reds moments alongside this. I'd have to say this is tough because it's kind of a mix of since I didn't see this in person, we'll just go with period. Jay Bruce batting 1,000 for two through his first 2 games was pretty incredible.
Oh my God! Okay.
That's not the best moment, but that's one that jumps out to me because Jay Bruce was supposed to be our Chris Bryant, Jose Abreu, whoever you want to call it player. And he never really panned out that way. He had some great years for the Reds, but he never panned out to be the MVP candidate he was supposed to be. There's that. Jay Bruce hitting the walkout shot to win the NL Central in 2010. There are a lot of Jay Bruce moments, actually, funny enough.
Yeah. Any Todd Frazier moments?
Well, we'll get to Todd.
Probably not.
Shut up.
Probably not, because he had a homer today for us. So
good. Send him home. Send him back. We'll take him.
Please.
You can have a cold hot dog, and we'll take him.
I'll take that. I'll take a cold hot. I'll take a bucket of baseball smoke.
I wasn't there for Jay Bruce's first 2 games. I wasn't there for that game where they won the NL Central. That was actually my freshman year of college. Like I just moved into my dorm. Ken Griffey Jr.'s 500th and 600th home run, without a doubt. Where I remember watching both of those live. The 500th happened in St. Louis. I can't remember where the 600th one happened, but
where were you when Ken Griffey Jr. tore his hamstring for like the 8th time?
In Cincinnati, probably. Somewhere. I mean, like there was.
We could go over all the.
He fell in the shower. He fell in the shower. He got hurt playing with his kids. He tore his hamstring. Yeah. He never got. It felt like he never got hurt playing baseball.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, or if he did, it was at practice.
It's just Cincinnati way.
Yeah, it's just just bad luck. Marge shot curse.
Hard shot. When you have an owner like that,
yeah. The $1 million, those that wasn't a great headline to have. But back to positive moments in the Reds' time. Todd Frazier's home run derby was special, and I know it's an event that doesn't mean anything to anyone.
That was.
But in Cincinnati, the mecca of professional baseball, people don't get, especially here in Chicago, people don't get how much baseball means to Cincinnati because of the fact that the Reds just have not been very good during your and I's lifetime. They just haven't. They had some decent teams in the 90s. They've had a couple good teams here in the the late 2000s, but nothing special.
Right.
Joey Votto winning the MVP was great, but Todd Frazier winning that home run derby in Cincinnati, which even the MLB came out and said that was one of the best All-Star games we've ever done. Cincinnati did such a good job putting this together, and Todd Frazier winning the derby just lit the city on fire. And the game was, all right, but kind of even, lost its luster just because of how people were so excited about Frazier. That was big. Aroldis Chapman breaking the pitch speed record in his first 5 pitches was pretty incredible.
Only Chapman.
Yeah.
Dude.
I mean, yeah, when he came up at the end of the 2010 season, he was the Cuban Missile. Then the next year kind of became the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now he really found himself as a closer, and now is the guy he is today.
Right, on the DL.
Yes, on the DL.
No, I'm kidding. No, he's. It's hard. It's easy to forget he can play for the Reds.
Yeah.
Honest.
Well, unless you're me and have his jersey still hanging in the closet.
Right. That's so sweet.
I know.
I still have a Carlos Quentin jersey from the White Sox days. His 3/4 MVP season before breaking his hand on him, hitting his bat. So there we go. Let's get to more other baseball.
Let's get to more other baseball because us about little moments about the Reds forever.
Right.
But I think something I want to touch. Well, let's touch on this. Back to Scooter Gennett for a moment, but to expand on that. Okay. Divock, you and I are both big DraftKings players. You kind of got me back hooked on the train.
No, whoa. Time out. You don't know big DraftKings players.
That's fair.
You
do way more than I do. But I'd gone cold turkey and kicked the stuff, and you got me back on, and I still play a good bit because this is the first year.
You know how many times I've gone cold turkey? I wrote a retirement poem. I wrote a retirement poem, and I went back 3 days later.
Wow. Yeah. No, I did much better than you with the cold turkey.
I've retired I've retired more times than Brett Favre.
Yeah, dude, you're an addict.
And I'm the Frank Gallagher of DraftKings.
You can't put down the sauce, man.
All those shameless watchers out there.
You just can't put down the sauce. And by sauce, I mean the DraftKings. But
you've heard my songs.
Yeah. Tell the viewers and the listeners of our fine podcast how many fantasy points on how many DraftKings points Scooter Gennett had tonight.
Now they have an arcade mode now. I don't know how
they really. Oh God.
They have arcade mode, yes, where like the points are like bonanza. It's like the NBA Jam of I don't know how many had arcade mode. He probably had like over 200, but in the normal, the OG DraftKings mode, he had 71, which is a real lot. I mean, I don't know if you don't play DraftKings, that doesn't mean anything to you, but it's a lot. So. That's what I got.
Yeah. But Scooter had 71 points by himself tonight. What?
That's like
Joe.
That's like the days of when Westbrook would throw up at like 110.
Yeah. That's just a freaking joke.
Yeah. That's the equivalent of it, essentially. I haven't seen a 70. I mean, 71, I've been doing DraftKings baseball for quite a bit. Longer than I'd like to admit. I don't know if I've ever seen a 71.
I don't think I have.
This might be the best single statistical game in terms of a hitter.
Yeah, I can't think of anything that's been close to this.
I don't.
There's been some 3 home run games, but I can't remember a 10 RBI game in a while or anything close to it.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could. There's. I don't know. You could hit 4 home runs and get 6 RBIs.
Yeah.
But, 10 RBIs, 5 for 5. How many runs did he score?
I believe he scored 4. Yeah, he scored 4. Scoring all the home runs. Okay. The 10th RBI was an RBI single.
Okay. Wow. Big day. Yeah, this is the best. This is like a once in a 5 years type of performance.
Yeah. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime performance, period, for Gennett.
For Gennett, it's a once in a lifetime.
You're not, I mean, the stars of the league don't do this. Like, that is.
No, I mean, this is an anomaly. Like, this isn't even.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a complete anomaly, and it has nothing to do with. Baseball's great because you can hit 5 home runs, 4 home runs in one day, and then not go hit a home run for 3 months.
Yeah.
And like that's the way baseball works.
Yeah.
So, it's great for Scooter Gennett. He'll have something to remember for his life. It's fantastic. Yeah. And DraftKings, people picked him. The 1.4% have picked him on DraftKings will too. So.
Smart people.
Brilliant.
But let's I was mentioning earlier that I didn't get in a fantasy league. Office didn't work out. The normal fantasy league I joined in didn't really do it this year. And so I've been free to kind of play DraftKings on and off, which has actually been kind of a little bit of like nice therapy break time to like actually just sit back and watch baseball and worry about all that a little less. Even though I think fantasy baseball is a great way to follow baseball.
Oh yeah, you don't realize how much, like, the people who don't, my friends who used to do it now used to do fantasy baseball and now don't do it anymore.
Yeah,
like they know nothing about baseball.
Yeah, you lose, and I've lost some loose ends, and the biggest loose end that I've lost, that even though I knew that they were great and that they're the best team in the MLB, what was lost on me is the fact that the Houston Astros have 42 frickin' wins already. 42 and 17.
And they blew a 73 lead tonight. They lost 9-7. Very rare for them.
Oh yeah, so they broke an 11-game winning streak that they'll probably restart tomorrow. Right.
I mean, we've talked about it. I think we talked about it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was all over the Astros.
Yeah.
Going over how I just loved so much of what they have, that it factor. They had a lot of great offseason moves with Beltran and Reddick, and veteran signed with Brian McCann, and the post-hype sleeper. And I mean, they're the World Series favorites right now. I mean,
they have to. I mean, that's not even close.
42 wins.
The starting pitching is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Dallas Keuchel's on the DL currently, correct?
No, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
He came back. He's now, I think it's 9-0 now.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's 9-0. I mean, their starting pitching, it leaves a bit to be desired. And McCullers is great. Keuchel's great. I would say, Charlie Morton's on the DL. He's actually been pretty good for them.
Yeah. Charlie Morton's a consistent starter. He's nothing special. Yeah. He's generally
they need to replace Mike Fiers. He's horrendous.
Yeah.
He lets up like a home run every other pitch.
Yeah. God, remember when he was just like a baller for the Brewers?
I do. He was pretty good on the Brewers, but he's fucking horrendous. He's been pretty fucking horrendous.
They've built a good
bullpen. And then Musgrove has been They really need to pick up another starter.
And they will. And
they will. Oh,
that's what's terrifying is very similar to how the Cubs are built. They just have prospects who haven't even come up yet. Who they have one of the highest rated farm systems in the MLB, with guys who just haven't even sniffed the MLB because there's no room for them because of all these young guys who are already out. George.
Right. They got this guy Springer. I mean, Springer's great.
Yeah.
Guy Kyle Tucker in the minors right now, who is fantastic. He's a future 5 player.
Yeah.
5 player.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking down their lineup, and it's just spectacular with more, more depth that can potentially either be acquired or played. When you have a guy who is considered a pretty, not necessarily a big time prospect, but has a lot of MLB playing time at a young age, with Marwin Gonzalez coming off the bench, you're doing something right.
Yeah, there you go. There's a bench guy who's had a monster season. Marwin Gonzalez.
Marwin Gonzalez is having even a little bit better year than Scooter.
Yeah, he's with
312 home runs and 34 ribbies.
It's been fantastic. But you said Bregman was a top prospect, it's like 8 for them. So no, they're ready for the playoffs. I mean, they're going to get ready for it. Their bullpen today's lapse. Their bullpen got Giles at the end, who's the flamethrower.
Yeah.
They got this Vinsky, Chris Devin 100 as well. He's been really good. Will Harris. And they got a couple more good arms down there.
Yeah.
So no problem.
Tony Sipp's been good for them.
Yeah, Tony Sipp's good. And they'll probably pick up another arm. During the trade deadline.
I would imagine
so. So you got your Astros, and I mean, I feel pretty good about I picked them 17-2 to win the World Series. I feel good about that.
I think that's fair because I
think it's a good bet.
I don't see another team, outside of just the experience of, not necessarily experience as far as players with the Yankees, but Girardi as a manager. The Red Sox have a lot of playoff experience. There will be a threat.
Well, the thing is, they do have playoff experience, but Chris Sale doesn't have any. So
that's true.
I mean, the team that scares me the most is the Yankees in terms of who I also bet on, by the way. But the Yankees, scare me the most because they just got some stuff going on, but that sucks.
I mean, we're talking about this off air that the Cubs are starting to finally turn it around. But they have a lot of work to do on their pitching staff as a whole still, I think. The Nats have played very, very well, but Dusty Baker isn't a good manager in the playoffs, so probably ixnay on them. And then the AL West is a little bit of shit show with the Rockies still in first, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, and I don't trust any of those teams to make a World Series run right now.
Right, the Dodgers are just so like I don't. They're just there.
We've been over this on previous tables. They're just, they keep winning, but you just know they aren't going to win the World Series.
Right, I know. That's the kind of feeling you get. I think the Rockies and Diamondbacks continue to play really well. I think the Diamondbacks are for real. I do too. I mean, I don't think that they're a World Series contender, but I think they're for real. No, they're for. I was looking at some stats because that's what I do. I was looking for some stats today actually, and it's one of the big measurements is the nerdy shit. So if you hate the nerdy baseball shit,
well,
sorry,
that's just silly. Then you're a silly person.
Yeah, you're just completely silly. The batting average of balls in play, BABIP, pretty much it's a good indicator of how lucky. It's the batting average calculated without home runs and strikeouts, so it's just whatever's going on in the field.
Yeah.
So basically, the two teams pitching wise last year, actually the it was Twins and the Diamondbacks. Both were, in terms of that stat, were the unluckiest. They had the highest BABIP in the league last year, and the different story for both those teams. Turned around completely. And then on the other side, the luckiest teams were, I think it was the Giants, the Cubs. There's another team down there, but they're getting Giants and Cubs have both been unlucky this year. Yeah. So,
and plus, it's an odd year, so the Giants were doomed from the start.
Right, true, and their BABIP is automatically in even years. Their BABIP is automatically just low. So, and just something to take away there. I think the Diamondbacks are for real. Greinke's back. And,
Greinke looks.
Robbie Ray's. They can hit the shit out of the ball. Robbie Ray's great. We'll see. And Archie Bradley in the pen. I mean, Rodney, I don't think will last. He is like a jillion years old, and every fan may say it's because he's blown too many saves for them. But I mean, Archie Bradley, flamethrower, he gets it done.
Yeah.
So one of those converted starters.
He's recovered nicely from taking a ball to the face.
True. Yeah, Wade Davis style. Not the ball to the face, but former failed starter is now a potential closer. Yeah. But, let's get off the baseball because there's something else going on.
Well, there is the NBA Finals, and some people are interested in this, I suppose. I've watched 2 games that have been disinteresting, though, because the Warriors are simply way, 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 way better than the Cleveland Cavaliers. They just are. Like, Divock, I would love your take on it because that is the only thing I can take away from this so far.
I mean, I'm having to series, and it hasn't worked out so far. And the thing is that people are now saying like Kevin Durant's the best player ever lived. I'm hearing people say that Kevin Durant is a better pure scorer than Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
It's 2 basketball games. 2 basketball games.
2 very impressive ones, but yes,
2 very impressive
2 basketball games.
It is the ultimate snap reaction. LeBron James was in the same position last year. I know Kevin Durant wasn't there. I know he wasn't. But he was down 2-0. And LeBron, never count out LeBron James. You do not count out Tom Brady, and you do not count out LeBron James, ever.
I think that's fair. But I think the biggest difference in these 2 teams this year, is obviously Kevin Durant. And this he is, maybe that all these rash decisions that now he is the best player in the world and now he's the one of the best pure scorers of all time. Now he is a Mount Rushmore player. Blah 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 blah, are overstated because not only is he playing some of the best basketball of his career over these playoffs, and really since he came back from injury, he's really meshed into the Warriors unbelievably. Since he came back from that knee injury, but he's also playing on a team with a system that he fits into way better than the one in OKC, and I think we all agree that he was pretty damn good in OKC as is. Mixed in with there's just a lot more scoring options on his team now than there ever were in Oklahoma City, and that includes when he had Serge Ibaka, Russ, and James Harden on the same team.
Fair.
I mean, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, even Ian Clark is putting up double-digit points. Sean Livingston, David West, who is a savvy veteran. He's not taking a lot of shots. He's there to get some boards and eat up some minutes.
Yeah.
But
this is all.
Klay Thompson finally broke out of his slump this game, and thank God, good for him. But he's playing at a different level. He's playing better than LeBron, I think, these past 2 games. But he's also playing better than LeBron because he doesn't have to shoulder near the amount of stress that LeBron definitely has to shoulder. And that has a lot to do with it.
I don't disagree with anything you said. But what I'm hearing from pretty much everywhere you look, everywhere media people I talk to, they're counting out LeBron James.
Yeah.
They're saying this series is over. I mean, that's what LeBron says. You do not. You do not fucking count out LeBron James ever.
We're going to learn. And I said this after game 1 that I want to see how the Cavs responded in game 2. And once again, they came up for 2 quarters. LeBron played great. The Cavs played great. They were hitting shots. Everyone except for J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson pretty much who are 2 key cogs to that team. No matter how you want to look at it, they are. But, God, they just run out of gas. If they, and I said this before. I think I said this before after game 1 and proved true again in game 2. If these savvy veterans that are ring chasing and trying to get this another ring with LeBron, trying to get their first ring, whatever it might be, who are now role players in the second unit for the Cavaliers, are not hitting shots, they are absolutely useless. And that's what's wrong with the Cavs roster. Darren Williams, Kyle Korver, even Iman Shumpert has become almost useless. Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. All of those players, sans Shumpert and Jefferson, are absolutely useless on the defensive side of the ball. Absolutely useless. And Shumpert's defense is really has kind of gone down in the past couple of years. And the fact that Jefferson is probably their best bench defender is kind of sad, being that he is ancient, but still has just boundless athleticism for a guy who can't really shoot anymore.
1,000 years old.
Yeah. It blows my mind that, it's one of those things that you're looking at these guys who they signed, who are all these former All-Stars or, played with Team USA, whatever it might be. And you're just like, where the hell are you guys? Like, is the spotlight that much brighter for you when you have the best player in the world just feeding you open shots and he goes to the hoop? And you just kind of saw in the second half, LeBron was out of gas. And it's not his fault, but it's just the fact that as great as he is, he's human, and he cannot beat the Warriors by himself. He can't. Kyrie had a bad game for someone who had 19 points. Kevin Love put up numbers, but he's basically been a defensive liability. Tristan Thompson's been pretty much useless, especially rebounding the ball, which is
there's nothing you can take away from the Cavs' performance in the first 2 games that is gonna help them, is gonna give you any reason to think they can come back and win this series. There's absolutely nothing. The great thing is about a series is that game is a separate entity.
Yeah.
Okay? Just because of what happened the previous game does not mean it's going to happen in the next game. And if it were, then betting would be really fucking easy.
That would. It wouldn't be called betting. It'd be called winning money.
It would be called winning money. That's the great thing. We'll see how the Cavs lose game 3 if the series is over.
Yeah.
I hate to say must win when it's actually not a must win.
It's a must win. It is 100%.
It's a must win. It's a must win.
It could not be more must win if it was a 3-1 lead once again.
So we'll see how they come out at home. I have a sneaky feeling and they're going to put a beat down on the Warriors. I think they are going to.
Really?
I think they are going to blow the Warriors out.
If there's a game where the Cavs could do that, it's definitely this game. I don't think there's another game in the series they could do it. It would be this game. But man,
I think that's my prediction.
I think we underestimate the mission the Warriors are on. I think a lot of people underestimate it because.
But it was last year. I know I don't want to talk about last year because Kevin Durant was there and Draymond Green was suspended, and really last year has no bearing on what's going to happen this year.
Yeah.
I mean, every game was a blowout up until I think it was Game 7.
Yeah, just about.
So, I mean, I'm hopeful for, I'm hopeful. I mean, I'm not a Cavs fan, but I'm acting like I'm a Cavs fan. But I think they'll take Game 3. I think they'll take Game 4. So that's my 2 cents.
Dude, I think people underestimate because of what happened last year and the fact that LeBron James is on the other side of the floor and the fact that, we've seen the Cavs were actually lost by a greater margin in the first 2 games of last year than they did this year. But they look.
How about that?
Yeah, isn't that a fun stat? I think that they've lost by a combined 41 points this year, and they lost by a combined 47 points last year.
Interesting.
But
very interesting
because of the fact that we are still talking about the fact that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead, and everyone's bringing it up. The Warriors are bringing it up. The Cavs are reminding people that they did it. I think we underestimate the mission the Warriors are on, and they have Kevin Durant as their newest teammate in that mission and that fellowship to get the ring. If Steph Curry is Frodo, Kevin Durant is Aragorn, and that's pretty fucking great.
All right, we've gotten extra nerdy on the.
We have really taken this to a new level. It's pretty fantastic.
We have.
But
we could do Game of Thrones. I mean, Game of Thrones. That's not even nerdy. Lord of the Rings, I feel, is nerdy. Game of Thrones.
It is. Game of Thrones is epic. Lord of the Rings is nerdy, but
okay.
Here nor there.
I love it.
We can discuss that on the next table.
We can do that.
But I just think people to me, obviously it's personal. It's the NBA Finals, and this is the new rivalry in the NBA. It 100% is. Anyone who says otherwise is stupid or lying. And
what I mean, LeVar or the LeVar Ball,
or they're LeVar Ball, and he's just talking about the Lakers. That I just think the Warriors they're pissed. The Warriors are pissed. They're a transcendent team. They're the best offensive team we've ever seen. Let's not kid ourselves. And I just think, if the Warriors sweep this series, I won't be shocked. Because I think that if they sweep it, it will be in convincing fashion.
I won't be shocked.
No,
I mean at this point I'm not gonna. At this point I won't be shocked.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're gonna learn. We're gonna learn tomorrow about the rest of the series, but I won't be shocked if this game's over in 4.
They look completely unstoppable.
They do.
I mean there's no denying that now.
But things happen when you shift to a different stadium.
That's why they play that game.
That's why they do.
As Chris Berman would say.
Yeah. Why? Give me a final score, Divac.
Cavaliers 115, Warriors 98.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I'll say. I actually know what I'm gonna change that because I think Rayman we didn't even give a shout out to Rayman. I think Rayman gave that exact score. I'm not gonna say that score. That exact score on game 1. I think he said that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say Cavaliers 123, Warriors 101.
I've got Warriors 124, Cleveland 117. Free throws push it to 7.
The over under is 221.
I think it's.
So
it's
you're saying
closer.
it's way up. You're saying it's way over 221.
Yeah. I think it's closer, but I think the Cavs play a lot better. But like you said, there's just nothing that tells me that the Warriors can't outgun the Cavaliers in any situation. There's nothing that's told me that so far.
But there's only one thing that tells me: people doubting LeBron James. That's what tells me.
Fair too. That's fair too. But people doubted the Warriors going into the series too. So
I don't think so. I think almost everyone I talked to thought the Warriors were going to dismantle the Cavs.
Well, the people on the big television, I suppose there were people that did, but I believe because I've seen more than enough times teams that are. I mean, like I watched it this year with Clemson being Alabama. Clemson was pissed and they wanted a shot at redemption against Alabama, and they got it. And they put together a game plan that just tore apart Alabama's game plan again, or at least they executed it well enough to make Alabama look like they were getting torn apart. And I just think the Warriors have that same kind of mindset that, all these offensive numbers are great. All this talk in the media is great. Doesn't matter without a ring, just like 73 wins didn't matter without a ring.
Doesn't matter without a ring.
It does not. And on that note, I think we should sign off and see what happens on Game 3.
We should. Here's the scooter.
Cheers, everyone.
Mm-hmm.